Hey, I'm Courtney Waterman, your tutor. Lover of anime, manga, and math. And you just tuned into another session of Tutor Me Sempai. Welcome back, everyone. Today we're jumping into a 5th grade topic, converting your yards to miles and your miles back to yards. Now, if you're new to my channel, I'll be putting time codes in for this video in the description box below. So use that to skip ahead to whatever part of the video you think is most interesting. As always, if you have any questions about what we see today or even on homework, remember you can visit my Facebook page at Tutor Me Sempai and tell me all about it there. This video is going to have 2 parts, so leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and let's get started. So today we're going to be converting our yards to miles and our miles back to yards. And just like we did for all of our other conversion videos on this channel, we want to first start with our basic unit conversion. And for that, we need to ask ourselves, how many yards are going to be in a single mile? Well, 1 mile, MI being short for mile, 1 mile is going to equal 1,760 yards. This is going to be our basic unit conversion for this exercise. And when we have this, we should be able to convert all of our yards to miles and all of our miles back to yards. So let's say we were given 10,560 yards, and we want to know how many miles we would have in this case. Well, our basic unit conversion tells us that every mile we have should equal 1,760 yards. We have 10,560 yards. So we want to figure out how many groups of 1760 make up 10,560. That lets us know that we should be dividing. So let's divide our 10,560 by 1,760. And when we do that, we will get 6. This means that 6 groups of 1760 make up 10,560, which also means that we have 6 miles when we have 10,560 yards. All we did was divide our total yards by the 1760 in our basic unit conversion. Let's look at another example. Let's say we're given even more yards. So this time we have 40,480 yards. And we want to figure out how many miles do we have in this situation. Well, we want to do the same exact thing. We want to figure out how many groups of 1760 make up 40,480. So let's divide and find out. 40,480 divided by 1760. And when we do that division, whether it's long division or you're using a calculator or something else, you're going to get 23. That means we have 23 groups of 1760 to make up this 40,480. That also means that we have 23 miles when we have 40,480 yards. We just want to take our total yards and divide it by 1760. That should let us know how many miles we have. So now that we've converted our yards to miles, let's go back from miles to yards. Now we want to convert our miles back to yards, and we're still going to use our basic unit conversion to do so. So let's say we have 62 miles, and we're going to figure out how many yards do we have when we have this amount of miles. Well, let's look back at our basic unit conversion. This tells us that every mile is going to equal 1760. You have 1,760 yards for every mile. We have 62 miles here. So we want 62 times this amount. If every mile is this, we want 62 of them, right? We have 62 miles. That lets us know that we want to multiply. So we want to multiply our 62 times our 1760 because we have 62 of these miles and each one equals 1760. So by doing this multiplication, you will get 109,120. That lets us know that whenever we have 62 miles, we're going to have 109,120 yards. We're going to take our total amount of miles and multiply it by that same 1760. Let's look at another example. Let's say we have even more miles, 94 miles this time. And we're going to figure out how many yards do we have when we have 94 miles. Well, remember, every mile is going to be 1,760 yards. We have 94 of these miles. So 94 times this amount. We want to multiply 94 times 1760. And when we do that, we're going to get 165,440. That means that whenever we have 94 miles, if you were to convert that to yards, you would have 165,440 yards. So whenever we're going from miles to yards, you want to take your total amount of miles you have and multiply it by this 1760. However, if you're going from yards to miles, you want to take your total amount of yards you have and divide it by the same 1760. And if you look at your basic unit conversion, this should give you a hint so you remember what to do in which situation. Check out the numbers attached to your units. Here you have a 1, here you have a 1760. Which number is bigger? Your 1760. So whenever you're going from miles to yards, you're going to go from a smaller number to a bigger number. And do you think of multiplication or division when you're trying to grow? Well, me personally, I think multiplication. So if I'm going from miles to yards, I want to grow the number that I'm going to have. It should be a bigger number than what I started with, so I want to multiply. However, in the same vein, if you're going from yards to miles, notice you're going from a bigger number to a smaller number. I think division when I see that. It's a bigger number and I want to end up with a smaller result. So I want to divide. So that's how you can use your basic unit conversion to remember. Miles to yards, multiply. Yards to miles, divide. So I hope you were able to follow along with today's video, and I hope you now understand how you can convert your yards to miles and your miles back to yards. However, if you have any questions about what we saw today, or even your homework, remember, visit my Facebook page at Tutor Me Sempai and tell me all about it there. If you hadn't done so already, hit that like button. It surely helps the channel by letting YouTube know that you found the video helpful. And if you found the video helpful, so can someone else. So leave a like, hit the notification bell, smash the subscribe button, and share the video with a friend. Well, that's all the time I have for today. I'm really hoping this helped with your homework. I'm looking forward to seeing you again next week. I'm Courtney, and this has been another session of Tutor Me Sempai.